Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a complex and often controversial topic, the most hated countries in the world. Think of this as a global temperature check, a look at how different countries are perceived on the world stage and, more importantly, why. Over the next little while, we'll unpack the historical baggage, political tensions, and yes, even the occasional media-fueled dumpster fire that contribute to these perceptions. Buckle up, everyone, because it's going to be a bumpy, uncomfortable, and hopefully thought-provoking ride. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the dragon. This dragon, of course, is China, a nation that has become a focal point of global discussions and controversies. China, with its booming economy and growing global influence, often finds itself at the top of these most disliked lists. Its rapid rise has been nothing short of meteoric, transforming it into a superpower almost overnight. From its human rights record, which has been a point of contention for many, to its aggressive territorial claims in the South China Sea, sparking tensions with neighboring countries, China's actions haven't exactly been winning hearts and minds globally. Environmental concerns and international protests further complicate its image. China's portrayal in Western media often leans heavily into the authoritarian bogeyman trope, emphasizing its strict government control and lack of freedoms, painting a picture of a monolithic Orwellian state hell-bent on world domination. This narrative, however, is overly simplistic and fails to capture the complexities of the nation. To reduce it to a caricature of communist villainy is not only lazy, but also ignores the lived experiences of over 1 billion people. The everyday lives, struggles, and aspirations of the Chinese populace are often overlooked. It's a classic case of do as I say, not as I've done, highlighting the hypocrisy in international relations, which, let's be honest, is about as effective a diplomatic strategy as trying to reason with a toddler having a meltdown in the cereal aisle. The complexities of global diplomacy require more nuanced approaches. America, the land of opportunity, the beacon of democracy, the place where dreams are said to come true. It's also the birthplace of the McRib sandwich, a culinary icon in its own right. But how did the self-proclaimed leader of the free world end up on a list of the most disliked countries? It's a question worth exploring. Well, let's just say America's relationship with the rest of the world is complicated, to put it mildly. For starters, there's the whole global military superpower thing, which has its own set of controversies. Then there's America's domestic situation, which, let's be honest, has been messier than a raccoon trying to eat a bag of Cheetos in a wind tunnel these past few years. From political scandals to social upheavals, it's been a roller coaster. From political polarization that seems to grow deeper every day, to social unrest over racial injustice and economic inequality, the issues are numerous and complex. America's internal struggles haven't exactly been a secret to the rest of the world. In fact, they've been headline news globally. Look, America is a land of contradictions, a place where extreme wealth and poverty coexist side by side. It's a nation founded on noble ideals that it doesn't always live up to despite its best efforts. But hey, at least they gave us jazz, the internet, and countless other innovations that have shaped the modern world. And let's not forget those little blue boxes of Kraft mac and cheese, a comfort food staple for many. Russia. A land of vast landscapes, rich history, and complex politics. The land of Tolstoy, Tchaikovsky, and suspiciously well-timed gas pipeline malfunctions. It's a place where art and politics intertwine in the most unexpected ways. Under the watchful eye of Vladimir Putin, Russia has developed a reputation for cracking down on dissent, maintaining a tight grip on power, silencing opposition, and generally making life difficult for anyone who dares question the Kremlin's authority. The atmosphere is often tense and fraught with uncertainty. From its annexation of Crimea to its meddling in foreign elections, Russia's actions have far-reaching consequences, making its presence felt on the world stage. The international community watches closely, often with a mix of apprehension and intrigue. And let's not forget the whole information warfare thing, where Russia seems to have mastered the art of weaponizing social media, spreading misinformation, and generally sowing discord. It's a new kind of battlefield, one that operates in the shadows. The aim is to destabilize and confuse, making it harder to discern truth from fiction. Russia is a country of contradictions, a place where breathtaking beauty coexists with deep-seated authoritarianism. It's a land of cultural richness and political complexity, where history and modernity collide. It's a nation trying to find its place in a rapidly changing world, balancing tradition with innovation, often by flexing its muscles and rattling its sabers. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: Russia will continue to be a force to reckon with. North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom's PR problem. North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, a land shrouded in more secrecy than a clandestine meeting of the Illuminati in a windowless van. Let's start with the obvious. North Korea's human rights record is about as appealing as a week-old bowl of kimchi left in the sun. Then there's the whole nuclear weapons program thing. And let's not forget North Korea's penchant for propaganda, which is so over the top, it makes Soviet-era posters look like minimalist art installations. North Korea is a country that seems determined to isolate itself from the rest of the world, a nation trapped in a time warp of Cold War paranoia and authoritarian excess. Chapter 5. Israel, navigating a minefield of geopolitics. Israel, a nation at the crossroads of history, religion, and seemingly intractable conflict. At the heart of the issue is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a decades-long struggle over land, identity, and the right to self-determination. Israel's policies in the occupied territories, including the expansion of settlements, the security barrier, and the blockade of Gaza, have been widely condemned as violations of international law and obstacles to peace. On the other hand, Israel has legitimate security concerns, facing constant threats from militant groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. Adding fuel to the fire is the issue of anti-Semitism, which often rears its ugly head in criticisms of Israel. It's crucial to distinguish between legitimate criticism of Israeli government policies and bigotry disguised as political discourse. Chapter 6. Pakistan, caught in the crosshairs. Pakistan, a land of breathtaking beauty, rich culture, and a knack for finding itself caught in the middle of geopolitical tug-of-wars. One of the biggest factors contributing to Pakistan's negative perception is its association with terrorism. The country's history of military coups, political turmoil, and its complex relationship with its neighbors, particularly India, haven't exactly helped matters. From blasphemy laws that stifle free speech to the persecution of religious minorities, Pakistan has faced criticism for its treatment of its own citizens. However, it's crucial to remember that Pakistan is a country of over 200 million people, a diverse nation with a rich history and a vibrant culture. Chapter 7. Iran, beyond the headlines and nuclear ambitions. Iran, a land of ancient history, stunning architecture, and a penchant for making headlines that give Western diplomats heart palpitations. As a theocracy ruled by religious clerics, Iran's political system is about as compatible with Western-style democracy as a camel trying to fit through a cat flap. Then there's the whole nuclear program thing. But here's the thing. Iran is more than just its government. It's a country with a rich cultural heritage, a proud history, and a population that's young, educated, and surprisingly tech-savvy. Chapter 8. Iraq, picking up the pieces. Iraq, a land synonymous with ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, and more recently, a cautionary tale of what happens when well-intentioned but poorly executed foreign interventions go horribly, terribly wrong. Let's rewind the clock back to 2003, shall we? Remember that whole weapons of mass destruction debacle? Yeah, turns out those were about as real as a unicorn riding a Segway. The ensuing chaos created a power vacuum that groups like ISIS were all too happy to fill, plunging the country further into violence and instability. Today, Iraq is slowly but surely rebuilding, but the scars of the past run deep. The country is still grappling with sectarian tensions, political corruption, and the lingering effects of war. Chapter 9. Syria, a nation held hostage. Syria, a land once known for its stunning Roman ruins, vibrant souks, and warm hospitality. What began in 2011 as peaceful protests against the authoritarian rule of Bashar al-Assad quickly spiraled into a multifaceted conflict. You've got the Syrian government, backed by Russia and Iran, fighting against a hodgepodge of rebel groups, some supported by the West, others with ties to extremist organizations. Then you've got ISIS, which saw an opportunity to carve out its own caliphate amidst the chaos. Millions of Syrians have been displaced, forced to flee their homes and seek refuge in neighboring countries, or brave the perilous journey to Europe. Chapter 10. India, the elephant not in the room. India, the land of Bollywood, butter chicken, and a billion people trying to figure out how to share a subcontinent. First and foremost, there's the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephant that some people are very determined to ignore: rising Hindu nationalism. From controversial citizenship laws to the revocation of Kashmir's special status, these actions have sparked protests, violence, and international condemnation. From long-standing tensions with Pakistan to border disputes with China, India seems to have a knack for geopolitical drama. Look, India is a country in constant flux, a nation grappling with its identity, its past, and its place in the world. Outrow. So, who's the worst? Well, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of some of the most disliked countries in the world and the complex factors that contribute to their less-than-stellar reputations. The world is a messy, complicated place, and understanding it requires nuance, empathy, and a willingness to look beyond the headlines. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.